Awesome. So my name is Chidi, and I lead activities at Donors for Africa Foundation. First thing I'm going to kindly ask is that please can we all mute our microphones? It's very important so that when it's being played back, right, when people receive the recording or when you attempt to listen to the recording, if we make it available, you want to be sure that that sound is very seamless. Great. So if you're in the chat room, please let me know where you're joining us from as we let more people into the room. Let me know where you're joining us from. What country are you joining us from? What's your name? What do you do? Let's just make the chat room a bit more interactive. People say that your very first step towards closing your next role is to ensure that you have forged the right relationships. Relationships come before any official or unofficial roles. So you never can tell who else is in the room, right? And those relationships are formed for different reasons. For some of you, it's so that in case there's an opening somewhere, you get your chance, right? Because you know where the other person works. So please let us know in the chat room where you're joining us from. Yes, Nigeria member fees. Great. Thank you so much, member. Hope you've been well. I really wish a lot of you were in Lagos. Yes, I can see you all when you guys come for the event in December. I'm sorry, on the 29th. But hey, let's be grateful. Great. Who else? Who else? So as we introduce ourselves, I'm going to just go ahead and start. I usually like leaving 3 minutes for that. Please let me also know what your expectations are. What are your expectations from today's session? Hi, Sherifat. Oh, wow, from Sokoto. Great. Great to see you here. Hi, Maya. Oh, Kindle Africa. That organization sounds really familiar. I've seen that organization's name pop up a lot on social media. Hi, Rooms. Hi, Nkiruka. Ace Charity. Awesome. Awesome. Great, great, great. Thank you all so much. I usually like a little bit of chit chat. Ndamono from Namibia in Southern Africa, career counselor by profession. Thank you so much. Who is willing to share why they chose to join today's session? I'm happy to unmute only one person, sadly. Just unmute yourself, one person, right? Raise up your hands. Let me know if you'd like to speak. I'll just quickly call you. Why did you join today's session? I'm curious, right? It would be great to know why. Does anybody want to try? Because I know quite a few of you have like fantastic jobs. So I know that some of you are not looking for new jobs. Zaina, please go ahead.
Hi, Chidi. It's been a
Hi,
while.
Zaina.
Hi, everyone. So for me joining this class today, I have had some sessions on CV writing, and I have a lot of mentees who come to me for support. So I'm always looking for ways to strengthen my skills so that I'm able to support them in their journey looking for jobs. Thank you.
Sadly, I didn't hear you very well. Sorry, it's not your fault. I live very close to the airport, so I had an airplane flying right above my head when you were speaking. So I'm very sorry. But feel free to type it out in the chat box. I'll just read it out. Okay, great. So I think we've made room for small conversations. Again, guys, please mute your microphones if you haven't muted your microphones. Please mute your microphones. Ikirika from United Station, thanks a lot for joining. I don't want to have to forcefully mute everyone, but I may have to do that. Okay. Hi, Matthew. Thanks for joining, Matthew Oversting. So let me get right into it. You're here early, so you deserve to also enjoy the session before we start. So just a quick introduction for some of you who may just be meeting me for the first time. My name is Chidi Colesworth. And I like to say that I currently lead activities at Donors for Africa Foundation. And I say that because I have sustainability in view. I know that in the next few years, I may not be the one in front of you hosting these sessions or this meeting or sharing this knowledge. So that's why I say I'm currently leading activities and I'm excited to be joining you all. Our social media handle is Donors for Africa. At Donors for Africa Foundation, I pretty much am in charge of strategizing, generating new ideas, thinking about funding policies, doing all the groundwork with my team at Donors for Africa Foundation. The organization works to strengthen the capacity of nonprofits to access funds, to achieve the SDGs, but most importantly, we want you to be sustainable. We want you to be able to continue to make a difference in your communities and in the states or the different countries that you work in. So a lot of our work is centered around capacity building. We currently have an application ongoing where you get a share of $3,000 if you go through the process, you're successful, that's currently ongoing. We have an inner circle and so many other programs and activities that we are involved in. So why did I decide to organize this training? First off, I've been opportune, I've been blessed to access several roles, right? And one of the things that have always stood out for me is my resume. I've not just accessed these roles, but I have also spent quite a couple of years helping quite a lot of individuals, quite a lot of high profile, EDs that are switching roles, professors that are switching into other things. I've helped them prepare their resume. I've helped them prepare their personal profiles and all those things. And I can say without mincing words that I've also groomed a strong team, right? I've also groomed a strong team. Oh my goodness, sorry guys, people like that. People are waiting. Okay, I've also groomed a strong team, right, that can also do this comfortably without me. And I have seen how that knowledge has transformed their lives. Recently, not just recently, I've been in the process of reviewing quite a lot of resumes. I've been reviewing resumes for grants processing for people who are seeking grants and they're looking to see the profile of the founder and members of their team. I've been reviewing resumes for hiring in nonprofits, in foundations, in corporate organizations. Like I've been so involved. And one of the things that jumped at me while I was doing this process was just the lack of knowledge. So many people have fantastic profiles, but they've not been able to communicate that expertise in their resumes. So they're being passed up for opportunities. So people are newbies. They have never, ever, ever gotten a job. It's their first job. So they are really wet behind the ears and they don't know what to do. But I have found that there's just so many mistakes a lot of young people are making. And I really believe that if we are going to be competitive and we're going to compete with the global market here in Africa, we must, like something as simple or as basic as a resume, we must be able to get it sorted. So that's why I decided to do this free of charge. I'm not asking anyone to pay a dime. And I am not taking out of the value I promise you will get out of the session. So for the purpose of this conversation, I want to first of all say, resume writing is extremely broad. What I mean extremely broad, it is extremely broad. Every aspect of a resume has like an MBA, like you see a profile summary. I can teach a profile summary for a long time. So what I'm attempting to do today is to condense this information to the simplest form in such a way that everybody can benefit, whether it's your first time in a job or you've been working for a long time and you're looking to just spice up your document, right? Everybody will be able to benefit from this experience. So there are three core areas that our session today is going to cover. And these are the three core things we're going to have conversations around. Number one, I'm going to identify some of the mistakes a lot of people make on their resumes. And I believe that once you know the mistake you make, it will be a lot easier for you to correct those mistakes. Number two, I'm going to show you three things that I have observed that always ensures, like let me not say everybody, but the bulk of the people who have ever accessed job roles, either while I'm interviewing or anything at all. These were some of the common threads I found very, very visible in their resumes, right? And I'm going to be showing you what those things are. Then finally, I'm going to also show you, well, I hope I can get to the third one, but if not, I'm very sure of the fourth one, which is that I'm going to also share a sample document with you that you can access and hopefully use that as a standing point or as a start off to get started when you're putting your resume together. Okay, I finished speaking English. Let us start learning. So I know that the very first thing I know is that there's a lot of confusion around resume. Like if you go on the internet, there's just so much you would see. And I know it is not easy for you to decide what format does my resume take. Who should I put as the first name in my resume? Like I know all those things are not easy to. It's not an easy decision. Should my resume be a one-page resume? Should my resume be a two-page resume, three-page resume? What should I include? What should I take out? Right? These are some of the things that I know are bothering a lot of people when it comes to resume writing. So the first place I would like to start off from is to tell you the difference between a resume and a CV. Please, I speak really fast, but if you want me to slow down, you need to let me know in the chat room that, hey, you're going too fast and I will slow down. Now, what's the difference between your resume and your CV? When do you use your resume and when do you submit your CV? I know that from the outside, they all sound alike, but they are two completely different documents. So when applying for a job or when you are pivoting or scaling from what you're doing to something bigger, be very mindful of what is being requested. Are they asking you for a CV or are they asking you for a resume? So typically, a resume is like a summarized version of your CV. A resume just tells me about the specific role you are interested in applying for and how your competencies and experiences over the years shows you to be the right person for that role. So that's a resume. It's very summarized. Now, when it comes to the question of how many pages should my resume be, this will depend largely on the request from the organizations. Some organizations, when you are hiring or when you are applying, they will tell you, oh, let your resume not be more than one page. Let it not be more than 2 pages. Let it not be more than 3 pages. Peradventure, you are not told. What I would say to you is, number one, how many years of experience do you have in the sector? If you are new in the field, please keep your resume to 1 page. If you're applying for an entry-level position, please keep your resume to 1 page. But if you have 5 to 7 years or 5 to 10 years experience, it's okay for you to have up to a 2-page resume, or maybe preferably leave it at a 2-page resume, right? However, once your experiences exceed 10 years and you are applying for roles like executive director, head of programs, very senior roles, it is okay for your resume to be about 3 pages long, because it is expected that with a number of years of experience that you may have developed or generated enough work experience to fill 3 pages. So I think I have sort of answered that question of how or what number or what length of resume do I always put forward? And I would say, let that be dependent solely on your number of years of experience. In fact, if the role you are applying to or applying for, you know that the experiences you have can stay to 1 page, keep it at 1 page. And I'll tell you why this is very important. It is very important because you have only 6 seconds to make them say wow. Let me go back a bit. Now, let me also quickly define what a CV is. I know I told you what a resume was, and I hope that has sunk. So let me quickly tell you what a CV is. I said a resume is a summarized version of your CV. So what is a CV? So a CV is a document that curriculum vitae. It's a document that you are consistently updating. Your CV is consistently updated. What does it mean? When you are done with your first role, you put it there. When you secure your second role, you add it there. When you secure your third role, you add it there. When you publish a book, you add it there. When you are featured in a magazine, you put the link there. When you, like every single milestone you achieve as a professional, as a student, you continue to update it on your CV. It is not a summarized version of your progress. It is actually a mini Bible or a mini encyclopedia of who you are, what you do, and where you have been. So in other words, your CV is supposed to be a large document, because you're supposed to be telling me, oh, in 2021, I did this. Oh, in 2022, I did that. Now, here is my recommendation to you. Everybody must ensure that they have a CV. What is the benefit of having a CV? By the time you find a role that you are interested in applying to, or by the time you find a role that you are interested in applying for, all you would need do is that you would just look at your CV and you would extract the information that is relevant to that role of interest. I'll take it again. Your CV is like an updated document that you keep updating as you proceed in your journey from first degree, from primary school, secondary school, university, first job, second job, PhD, master's. You update your CV. You don't take out of it. You write a book, you get featured. It's like your mini portfolio that does not change or that is always changing. However, when you are now applying for a job, all you now need to do is look at your resume or your CV and find the experiences that are relevant to the role that you are applying for or that you are applying to. And then you extract those experiences and infuse them or impute them in your resume. Please let me know if this is clear in the chat room. I hope it is. I'm trying as best as I can to just take it easy, easy, easy. And not get off in my feelings, right? But that's the core difference between a CV and a resume. Now, thank you, Kenny. So now everybody has 6 seconds to make whoever you are presenting your resume to scream and say, I want this person on my team. So what that automatically means is that your resume cannot be generic. Your resume cannot be generic. I'm going to come to the mistakes. Okay, so it also means that you need to be able to put forward a document that allows somebody to look at the first summary that you have there and they would say, I would like to interview this person further. So your resume must, number one, be result driven. Number two, your resume, sorry about that. Number two, your resume must be presentable. It must be easy on the eye. Another biggest mistake I have observed is that people send resumes that are cumbersome. It is too packed. It doesn't make me want to read the resume, so I just toss it away. So number one, you must ensure that your resume is result driven, and then it is tailored towards the role that you are applying to or applying for. And finally, it has a very sleek, easy to comprehend, concise format. Number three, it's very important that you also realize that before, you don't need a fancy document for you to secure a job, but now the competition is extremely, extremely steep. It is such a global market that everybody is competing for everybody's job. So because the roles are getting shinier, you need to ensure that when you position yourself, your resume is a reflection of where you are headed in your journey. So what this means for us as professionals, and I had mentioned earlier on that a resume is not only presented when you're seeking for a new role, even as people who work within nonprofits, and a funder or a donor may say, send us a copy of your resume and that of your team. It is very important to have a document that is a reflection of where you are headed as an individual. So I was saying what this means for each and every one of us is that number one, you must take note of your career projection. I know that some people are just starting out and they are not sure of what they want to do. I totally get that. But if you've been working for 3 years or for 5 years, it's important that you are very clear about where you are headed. So that you're not wasting your time applying for all types of jobs, because then the stress of having to tweak your resume every single time you're sending out a job opening or sending out your application, you don't have to go through that stress. You're instead investing a lot of time and energy in a valuable document. Number two, it's very important that you are keeping track of the impact that you are making. I know a lot of us as either individuals or founders or people who work with a team, we are not keeping track of the impact we are making. I remember a time in my journey when I was about to lose my job. This was my 5th year working in an organization that I had literally groomed and grown from being very hidden to becoming very popular. Like, I was one of those people who had institutional knowledge about the organization. I can tell you the date of birth of individuals, board members. I can tell you the details. Like, I had institutional knowledge. Someone was brought to join the organization, and all of a sudden, some consultant was trying to move a motion that the person should be hired in my place, or the person should be replaced, the person should replace me as manager at that time in that organization. What information did I take to the board? When that meeting was being held, I did not say anything. I did not argue. The board members, because I was in the room, they did not argue as well. They were just quiet, and everybody went out at the end of the meeting. But I did not go to bed. When I got home, I prepared a detailed email. My email was extremely detailed. And I itemized every single milestone I have achieved for the organization. How I raised over $250,000 in grants, how I spearheaded this project, how I've been managing our activities in the absence of an executive director for 1 year, because I knew what I was bringing to the table. I was keeping track of every presentation I was making, presentations that were yielding to results, applications that I was putting forward, applications that were yielding to results, decks or pitch decks I was designing, and they were using it to make presentations at board levels, and they were getting funded for it. My contribution, I tracked my contribution to every project, whether as someone supporting the project or someone leading the project. So by the time I prepared that email, I had my points, and I brought those points and I tabled it before the board. And I said, it would be ridiculous for anybody to come and replace me when they have not shown equal XYZ to the job. You and I can guess what happened. That was how the matter of somebody replacing me died down. Yes, the person had a master's degree and I did not have one at the time. However, I knew what I had brought to the table, and I was not willing to exchange it for nothing. What am I saying? You cannot be working in an organization and not be conscious of the impact that you are making or the contribution that you are making. Because guess what? When it is time for you to sell your services, either as a consultant or as a first time in the job, whatever it is, you would need to bring forward your strong points. And that's why I said, I hope that as you are implementing your work in your day-to-day life, be conscious of the impact you are making and the contributions you are making. Put that in your CV if you have to, so that when you're preparing your resume, you will not struggle for the next set of things that you are going to be learning in the coming slides. I hope this is clear. I hope everything is clear. I hope no one has questions. So let's get started. I'm going to break this conversation into 2 core areas. Number 1 area is the biggest or the most basic mistakes people are making. And the second area are what I used to call advanced mistakes, but they're not really advanced mistakes, but they are, let me call them advanced strategies that you need to start imputing when you are retweaking your resume. So let's start with the basics, right? Let's just get started. Someone should please double check that I am recording this, because like I said, I can get up with my feelings and okay, it's been recorded. So like, I need to assume everybody is at a certain level. So let me start from the most basic level, which is the sections of your resume. The first section of your resume should be what I call your heading. And I've put a sample there. So the only sample you should please take note of is this one. Don't take note of this because I have something to say about this. Please take note of this one. Let your name be bold. Ensure that you have, I will level with you. I don't think your location matters, because we are now in such a globalized world. It doesn't matter whether you're in Kafanchan. You can be in Kafanchan and be working in Geneva. So I honestly don't include my location on my resumes anymore. I stopped doing that a long time ago. Your phone number with the country code, because you also need to position yourself to receive a call from the international market, and you don't want people running around checking on YouTube or social media what is the code for calling Nigeria or calling your home country. So please, it's very important that you have a country code and your phone number right in front of it. Number 3, make sure you give them your most updated email. And please, this is where the first mistake starts from. All those sexy diva 2023 at yahoo.com, it's not working. See, when people see those resumes, even when you have a fantastic profile, many times they cannot get past that title because they just assume that this person is a joker. So I implore you, please, if you have a sexy diva 2022 or chili is hot 235 at yahoo.com, change it. There are so many email platforms these days, I can't even begin to mention them. But please have a clear email address like Linda Kleinberg at linda.org or Linda Kleinberg at yahoo.org, msn.com. Keep it simple and straight to the point. But this is the first section that the resume must have. Now, the next thing you want to talk about is, I'm still coming to these things, but let me just quickly touch on them. The next thing you want to take note of is this. This is not the role you occupy. This is the role you intend to occupy. That is what should be here. So what we do is that we take our existing roles and we merge it with our intended roles, and that is what you put here. For example, if I am in, let's say, I'm the executive director, and I know of an organization that is looking to hire a director of partnerships, right? I can put on my resume, if I have done work centered around director or centered around partnerships, I can put work around executive partnerships, or I can say partnerships, or I can say director of partnerships to North Africa Foundation. Let this be a merger of your role and your intended role, right? Now, I love a professional summary over an objective. I'm going to come to that as well. Why I prefer a professional summary over an objective is because a professional summary is like a summary of who you are, not even who you are. It's more like a summary of your unique selling point, what you have achieved, what is your unique selling point, what have you achieved. In fact, I tell people, assign what you have achieved to the role that you are applying for. So let's say you are applying for the role of a sales director. What you should have here in your summary, I'm going to come back to this, but what you should have here under your summary should be all the, not all, like 1 or 2 amazing results that you have generated under sales. So if under sales, you've been able to close over, for example, $20 million, or let me bring it down just in case, you've been able to close over $150,000 in grants, or you've been able to close over 1 million naira in grants, or what, as long as it is a sales win, please put that here. And I will tell you the format of putting here. I'll tell you the format of putting here. As at 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, it used to be paragraph like this, but it has changed, and I'll tell you what has changed too. I just want to quickly mention that please endeavor to also include your LinkedIn profile link. Endeavor to also include your LinkedIn profile link. Why is it important? See, the easier you make it, the more you make it easier for someone to take a decision about hiring you, the better. You and I know that our post on LinkedIn is usually a lot more elaborate, a lot more about our progress if you're active. But if you're here, you're a professional, you're not on LinkedIn, maybe this list is not for you. But if you're on LinkedIn, please, number one, you need to ensure that you have an updated profile on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn allows you to pretty much talk more about yourself in such a way that people find you irresistible. So when you have a LinkedIn profile here, and you create a hyperlink that when they click on it, it takes them directly to LinkedIn, you are increasing your chances of them seeing that you are the best fit for the job, and also giving them an opportunity to check out all your competencies, right? Okay. Now let's move to the second part of your resume. The second part of your resume is now your work experiences. Your work experiences. Again, always focus on your most relevant work experience. And this is why I said, if you are here and you have one resume that you send to everybody, it is a problem, because you cannot send the same resume to all your partners, to all your donors. No, Your resume is a reflection of your most relevant experience. So when we're talking about the sales guy or the guy who wants to become a sales director, the roles you should have on your resume, and that's why they said it should not be more than 1 page or more than 2 pages, because the roles that should be on your resume should be the roles where you had activities that showed your sales, what will I call it now? Expertise. Activities that showed your sales proficiency. So whatever job you are applying for, the roles that you should have under your experiences is not a sum total of everywhere that you have worked in your life. Let me also say this. A lot of times, a lot of us, we write our resumes to make us happy. Look, your resume is to make the reader happy. That is the essence of resumes. It's not to make it for you to look at a track record and you're like, oh, wow, I've done such a fantastic job. The essence of your resume is so that when the recruiter looks at it, the recruiter is happy. So you design a resume for the recruiter and not for yourself. So people are fond of itemizing all the different things they have done in this world. You're not positioning yourself as the best candidate for that job. Instead, even if you want to list all the things that you have done in your life or all the roles that you have worked in your life, here's the secret. Extract 1 or 2 strong, that's why I said if you are not conscious about the impact you are making, extract 1 or 2 choice impacts that you know that it is something you are extremely proud of. For example, I won best staff 5 times in a row, 5 times in a row in 5 years. Like every year that is a fantastic win you want to celebrate or put on your resume. Let's say all the prominent things you have done that is related to what you are applying for, those are the things that you should highlight under each of those roles. And like they say, when you are preparing your your work experience area, please always include numbers. I want to see how did the work you are doing make a direct impact in the lives of the people that you are working with. That's all I want to see. How the work you're doing made an impact in the lives of the people you're working with. So please, your work experience are not your roles and responsibilities. Don't go and look at your letter of offer, your offer letter when you were giving. You now cut, copy and paste and put it on your resume. It is about the impact you made in that role. That is what should be on your resume. And the roles and responsibilities or the things you do on a day-to-day basis, that's not what should be on your resume. So please take note of that. It's very important. And we'll still come to how to prepare all those informations. And then finally, your education and certification. So I put education and certification here because people seem to think it's only when they've gotten a master's degree or a PhD degree, that's when it shows that they are learning. No. If you got into a fellowship program, note it there. If you got accepted if you took a course of Coursera and you completed the course and you have a certification to show for it, put it there. Like, let your education and certification not be something that reflects your last development to be 10 years ago, or your last personal development to be 5 years ago or 3 years ago. Ensure that your education and certification is something that reflects how you are constantly upgrading yourself. So yes, you left school in 2006, you had your first degree in 2006, you got the opportunity to go for a master's degree, but can you show me that you have taken courses that has upgraded your current skills? It could be you have a digital certification in XYZ marketing, you have XYZ degree from Udemy, you have XYZ degree from Coursera. That is the future of work. It's no longer about what university you went to. I hope that is clear. And then finally, you have other things like your interests, your skills, and I'm going to come to all those things info. So these are like the 4 sections of what your resume should be: a header or a professional summary or an objective. I don't like objectives anymore, but objectives. Number 2, your work experience. Number 3, your education and certification. And of course, other things like your hobbies. And I will tell you how to work all those areas, and every single line of your work is an interesting read. Okay. Now there's something called ATS, right? There's something called an ATS. An ATS is How do I explain it now? Okay. An atheist is like a robot. For a lot of organizations that receive up to 1,000, 3,000, 300, 400, 500, no. When they are receiving those applications, it's not when you send it that it goes to the automatic email, no. Many times for large organizations, it goes through a system called ATS, right? I've forgotten the full meaning. I had it at the back of my head. I should have written it, just assumed I would remember it. But it's called ATS, and it's like a bot that selects the top performing resumes before it now filters it, then the HR now receives it. So for example, if 500 people apply for you, that bot would sift through the 500 and shortlist 300 or shortlist 250. You may have a fantastic resume, you may be the perfect fit for the job, but the bot is a programmed, the bot is a programmed device that uses a set of metrics to determine what resumes should be shortlisted for the HR to review. And I'm coming to that. Now, those metrics that the bot decides on is being imputed by the organization. So, head and tail of all these things I'm saying is that you must use keywords on your resume. Those keywords are the things that guarantee that you make it through that ATS, application tracking system. I knew I have it in my head. Thank you, Marisela. Marisela is applicant tracking system. So that is what it does. So you are the most appropriate fit for that job, but you will not make it through the BOT. So what do you do to make it through the BOT? This is the first trick. And that's why I said you cannot continue to submit one resume to all the jobs that you are interested in applying to. So this is what you should do, the very first thing that you should do. When preparing your resume, take out time to read the descriptions, the roles and responsibilities, what the organization is looking for. You must infuse those keywords into your own resume when working on it. For example, you found a job that says we are looking for people who are highly motivated, people who have evidence of closing sales, people who have generated $5 million, people who have motivated their teams and led teams. Those are keywords that they are pointing out. Now, when preparing your resume, under your work experience, remember I said it should be about the impact you have made and not your roles and responsibilities. So under your work experience, the next thing you will do there is to use those keywords. I have generated XYZ amount of money in funding. I have led a strong team of 20 people. I have produced, I mobilized. All keywords are usually called action words. So they copy and paste the application process in such a way that it's like, this one just came and copied and pasted the application. No, they would know. So what you just need to do is to highlight those relevant keywords that they are looking for. Highlight it onto your own resume so that at least you pass the first stage of what? Applicant tracking system. For many of the organizations that use it, you will pass that first stage and at least have your resume in front of a human being and not in front of a robot. I hope that's clear. If you're here and you're not following VFN on social media, please follow us. Number two, the only way you can pay me for this work I'm doing this night is for you to post an image or a note or a session of this thing, post it on social media, let my team post on their stories. That is the only way you can tell me thank you. Anyway, let's move on to the next point. So what are the most common mistakes that people make? What are the most common mistakes that people make that impact their resumes? Number one, grammatical error. It sounds like a small mistake, but I think it's not a small mistake. Grammatical errors is a reflection of the unseriousness of the candidate who is putting forward their application. The moment I see somebody with all those grammatical errors, the next people will say, and you are claiming to be detailed, I pay attention to details, and your resume already has like 60% grammatical error. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a room. They will be, so don't forget that human beings are the ones evaluating these documents. Human beings that may have showed up to work that day tired and frustrated, and you're not able to use your own resume to increase the frustration in their life. So the moment they open your document and they say, they will just, this person is not serious. They are looking for an excuse not to read your documents. So sloppiness cannot be tolerated. Spelling error, typos, grammatical mistake. And I tell everybody who is in the nonprofit community here that follows me, download Grammarly. Grammarly, Grammarly. It is a life-saving app. If you have the most updated Microsoft 11 or Microsoft 10 latest versions, they have now done Google Editor. So it even edits the work that you are doing. You can just go and click on it. But I like Grammarly because with Grammarly, I get to choose how do I want my writing to sound. Do I want to sound formal or informal? It begins to show, if I make a mistake in it, it can correct my entire sentence, especially if you're using the pro version. And the pro version is free for nonprofit. So if you're here, you're a nonprofit, you're registered, you have a documentation, you can actually apply for Grammarly for nonprofit, and you upload your information with your official email address. Once they see it, they approve you, and you have access to, for 1 year, you have access to all the whole, like the editing of the editing, right? At that most free, not free, like the pro professional level. So please go ahead and download. Now, so what's the solution for this mistake? Number one, ensure that your resume is reviewed by 3 different people. Number one, the Grammarly platform. Number 2, email it to your best friend to help you and review. Email it to your best friend, let them help you and review. Number 3, if you go to Fiverr and if you go to Upwork, there are lots of freelancers who are looking for affordable work to do for as low as $5, for as low as $10. I beg you. All you need to do is go and find somebody who is interested in reviewing your documents and forward it to them for as low as $5. They will review your document and give you feedback. Do you know why this is important? It may seem like you're doing all this drama just because of resume, but those checks and balances will guarantee the quality of the documents that you are bringing forward. So that's why it's very important to do some of these things I'm saying, right? Because it's very, very key. So again, let it be reviewed by 3 different sources. And then finally, I said here, you can hire someone on Fiverr in 15 to 20 minutes. They come back to you with detailed review of your resume, detailed review. And I put here that how you know someone who is ripe for the job, check the number of hours logged onto their system. They have a way of doing all those things on Fiverr. You can still have badges, they pay for badges, and they get to be like at the top 10%. So whatever it is, just realize that you can actually outsource the review of your document. DFA does it, but I would say after you have done all you can, just send it to somebody who is completely neutral so they can help you do a better job. Number 2, let your summaries not be too long. Like I said, this is the newest. This information is the most recent information. People are beginning to ditch paragraphs because sometimes paragraphs are too cumbersome to read. And people are now going for bullet points instead. So what do I mean by this? When you look at your resume, at that paragraph at the beginning, at the summary section, when we're talking about the sections of your resume, at the summary section, one of the things that we spoke about was your summary. Now I'm telling you, rather than have that summary as a paragraph, as it is done here, right? Have it as a bullet point. And like I said, have 3 fantastic bullet points that you know are like the highlight of your job. Just 3. Because again, you want to make sure when they pick up your documents and they read the first line, closed a $500 million sales in December 2002, working with only 2 staff, whatever it is, it must be information that would impress them to want to start reading further down about you and your competencies. So guys, please, it's important that you ensure that you use bullet points instead of paragraphs. Like I said, these are things that are constantly changing in our field, and I'm always excited to share the most recent changes with anyone who's willing to listen. What else? Okay, just put here some additional details that you will find useful. Think of your summary as the everything of your resume. Like if your summary is not fantastic, your resume will not be fantastic. That's just because if they can't get past that summary section, I'm sorry, it'll be difficult for you to convince them about anything else. Number 3, too many buzzwords. Please let us catch cruise. If you're not in Nigeria, what I mean by that is let us have some fun, right? Okay. In the comment section, tell me some of the buzzwords that you are tired of hearing when it comes to resume preparation. Because you people know these words. Oh yeah, let us start typing. Who wants to go first? Buzzwords, buzzwords. Someone should share some buzzwords that they know. Frustrating buzzwords that you've been seeing for such a long time. I'm waiting though. Motivated. God bless you. Motivated. Who else? Who else wants to give us some more buzzwords? Consummate experience. Thank you very much. And who else? Who else? Who else? Seasoned professional. Work under pressure. God, we thank you for that one. I can work under pressure. When you see pressure, you will run. Hardworking, participated. I am a highly talented. See, there is a saying in our sector. We say, show me and don't tell me. Don't tell me what you are. Show me, let me see it. I want to see it in your numbers. How will I know you are how will I know that you are self-motivated? If you did not lead, if you have not led the launch of a solution, how will I know that you can work under pressure? If you cannot tell me how you secured 3 funding opportunities within 1 month by leveraging partnerships, blah, 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 blah. Show me, don't tell me. Right? Everyone, please let's mute. Show me, don't tell me. Let me see if I can quickly use my magic fingers. This is my problem. I will start and then I will want to give more, but I want to quickly pull up what words can you use in place of these other words that I've talked about. So we have plenty information, but I will only give you what is needed. Please, I'm giving you some action words, right? If you have a pen, write it. Like this one is not on my presentation, so that is how my life is. A lot of things will be coming to my head. Please, if you have a pen, write. Galvanized. Replace it for your most preferred word. Directed. Unified. Rejuvenated. Mentored. Trained. Facilitated. Cultivated. Supervised. Fostered, hired. Those are words that can replace all these our passionate. Look, there's so many. There's so many. Stimulated, accelerated, shot, delivered, boosted, maximized, generated. Those are all action words that you can utilize. They are all action words that you can utilize. Let's try and leave behind these buzzwords that don't take us anywhere. Let's leave them behind, right? Let's leave them behind. You spearheaded a project, right? Change your lingua so that when you are doing all these things, people would know that this person is a very serious person and she's very diverse or very experienced in whatever field or area that you are experienced in. Okay, so I want to quickly share that while we go back to our work. So I put an example here. If I'm applying for a new business role, my first bullet might read responsible for driving 100 million of new business in 2019 and achieved 168% attainment. This one is telling me and is not showing me because you're breaking it down. $11 million, 100,000 naira, whatever the amount, the year, the specifics of the amount of growth achieved. It could be that you were able to secure 3 new businesses within your first 4 weeks of resumption. What it tells the recruiter is that This person can secure 4 new businesses within her first week of resource, first month of resource. It means she's a very resourceful person. So you don't need to come and start telling her, I am a resourceful young lady. Like I said, we are constantly grooming. Like this is when I had to stop my team and I said, this is the new training on ground. So please take note of this one. It's very important. Oh, sorry, let me go back to presentation mode. Please, oh, I hope it's what you expected today. Number 3, I said buzzwords, avoid buzzwords, avoid buzzwords. Instead of using buzzwords, please write naturally. There's something else again I want to quickly say. Please, let's reduce the grammar. Please, let's reduce the grammar. Like I said, you're not writing to impress anybody when you're presenting your resume. You are writing to communicate. And the moment you're no longer communicating, it means there is a problem. So please, let's try and avoid, I call them flowery words, words that will just hype up your document, but it doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day. This is an example. I wrote, would you rather hire somebody who is responsible for driving new business across the healthcare across the healthcare vertical to help companies achieve their goals? Or would you hire someone who, when you read their resume, it says, I drove $50 million of new business last quarter, straight to the point? What I'm saying is that let us leave buzzwords alone and focus on the results that we generated when you are working on your resume. That is another mistake I have observed. Number 4, have a resume that is 1 page. Like I said, always attempt to keep your resume at 1 page. If you cannot keep your resume at 1 page and the organization has not asked you to, please feel free to extend to 2 or 3, but their preference is 1 page. And that's why I said it's very important that you read the instructions of whoever is bringing you aboard or whoever is hiring you. What are they looking for? Are they asking for a 1-page resume, a minimum of 2 pages resume? Whatever it is, please give it to them. I now put a few recommendations here. You can reduce the size of your font. You can, I don't even want to go into talk about font and font style and all those things, but you can reduce or increase the size of your font. Ensure that the most important information is what you are capturing, right? I think I've already said what I put here, which is that the number of years of experience may determine the length of your resume. I've already said that already. Number of years of experience may determine the length of your resume. So it's very important that you have that at the back of your mind when preparing a document, because you now don't want to present a document that is too empty because you want to keep it to 1 page, and a document that is too much. Like, for example, people who are just starting out in their career, they will write and fill it with things that are honestly not relevant. So please be mindful of this and be very conscious about what you're putting in the resume. Okay, so these are just some other mistakes I may not have been able to get to. Like I said, I want to make it very brief so that you just get the point as soon as you find it. It is also known that a lot of people don't even look at your resume until you walk into the room. I won't even lie, it's happened to me a lot. Once I look at the person's summary, I just assume the person is a great fit. If you're applying for a job as a grant manager and I'm getting a resume that says your most recent experience is Bokeh Oil and Gas Company, I just know that you are not the person I'm looking for. I know this is another random message that has gone out. So please, it's important that you are in a current role is very, 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 is well aligned with the role that you intend applying for. I have to go and back up a few more information up here. And I found this out on social media on Google. It says that resumes with a link to a comprehensive LinkedIn profile have a 71% better chance of hearing back. So I did this deliberately because I've been practicing a lot of this, but I wanted to know if there were any facts, scientific facts or research backing it up. And these are the things I found out. As long as if you have a comprehensive LinkedIn profile, you have at least 71% chance of hearing back from people who are hiring. 76% of resumes were discarded for unprofessional email addresses. Guys, this email address thing is serious. I'm telling you, it's very serious. Resumes with a photograph, this is the one I don't understand. Are you so confident that you look so handsome that you put your resume or photograph on your resume? You don't realize that people will judge you, even if they claim that they are not judging you. Even you you judge people with several bias without even knowing that you are judging somebody. Somebody can come in contact with maybe I don't even know what example to use without hurting people's feelings. But all I'm saying is people pass a lot of biased judgments. Some people may assume that because you are black, you are not intelligent. Some people may assume that because you're a woman wearing a hijab, that you are not a smart person. Like people have all these crazy assumptions, and then they would judge you based on their own bias. So why do you want to put yourself in a position to be judged? And then you now want to put your photograph. It is a very huge risk you're taking. Please, please stop putting your pictures on your resume, because you can just say you are not like you. And it has nothing to do with your competency. Another reason to stop, another thing I want to encourage you to stop putting whether you are married or whether you are single. Nobody cares, really. Look, you prepare resumes to secure an interview and not to land the job. You prepare a resume, please note this, you prepare a resume to secure an interview and not to land the job. So you need to be feeding them with the right information they need per time. Why would you tell somebody that you are from Nigeria on your resume? Did they ask you? They did not ask you. And somebody may have seen it and just remember that my in-law was just scammed by Nigeria, and you are falling victim for a bias that you have no business in. Some of you put your local government area where you are from, what village you are from, it is not necessary. Some of you put your date of birth, it is not necessary. There's something called ageism, AGEISM. They will pretty much judge you based on your age. They don't know you, they've never met you before, but they will judge you based on your age. So, if you know that will jeopardize your chances of being shortlisted for an opportunity, I'm encouraging you to please. What is the English I want to speak now? Please try to the best of your ability to avoid it. Okay? Try to the best of your ability to do what? To avoid it. Because you don't want a situation where people are judging you when they don't even know you, but they are judging you. It just makes no sense. I think it's unfair, but it's the reality. 1 minute, guys. Sorry, we're getting notifications from some reporters, so I don't know how else. I hope this helps. Best I can do, guys. Okay. 76% of your resumes are discarded for unprofessional emails. So please, it's very important that you have professional emails outlined. 15% of resumes have typos. So please try and avoid typos on your resume. Applicant tracking software is real. That software is real. It can really shortchange you. So please ensure that you infuse the right keywords and the right phrases. Okay. We've also talked about the fact that please, you should not include your pictures on your resumes. Don't tell us what village you are from. Don't do all those things. You can just be jeopardizing yourself based on other people's bias. Awesome. Does anyone want to be honest with us in the chat room? Look at your resume in your head and begin to ask yourself, which of these mistakes have I made? Let us talk about it in the chat room. Tell me which of the mistakes you're making in the chat room or you made in the past. Member, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chidi. I have a question. You said that you should put, education and certification, you put it together. Because before I used to separate it, my education, my certification. So education first, certification then. But like over the last, so I graduated over 10 years ago. For my certification, I have like over 20 certificates. Should I still mix them together or still separate them?
I would recommend you infuse your most recent. Let me explain how it's done, right? Yeah. So one of the things I didn't. Oh, sorry, I didn't allow you to finish. Are you done with the questions?
Yes, I'm done.
Sorry about that. I just jumped in. Okay, so the things that I always do is I start from my most recent educational qualification or certification to my oldest. So what do I mean? If my most recent, for example, is maybe a leadership certification from the University of Geneva, right? And I just got that, like maybe let's say a week ago, I will have that on there. And then every other certification I would mention will be certifications that are relevant to the role that I'm applying. So amongst the 20, remember we have our CV and we have our resume. If you have a lot of certifications, I encourage you to only use certifications that either shows your expertise in your area of interest, right? Your expertise in your area of interest, or pretty much how you've upgraded yourself over the years. So if it's equal to 20, you want to look through that 20 and show best ones based on school, based on the technicality of the course that you've taken, based on the relevance of the course that you take. So for example, for me, I left school in 2016, right? I left school in 2016. That's some 13, 14 or 15 years ago. I don't even know. I left school in 2016. So I got my master's in 2006. I'm sorry, 2006 when I left school. I got my master's in 2015, right? This is 2022. All I do is add every other educational pursuit that is relevant. So in between my education and my certification, you will see that there's been a progression of learning. And that's what I think we want to really take note of, that progression of learning. You want to show that you are learning, you are constantly updating yourself, or you are constantly updating your skill. So I hope that answered the question. So rather than focus on the 20, is it possible for us to extract all the relevant ones for the role that we are interested in and have them imputed? And of course, that selection can also be done based on a lot of other factors. Like, I mean, Harvard is Harvard, right? Cambridge is Cambridge. So there are certain schools that you want to be affiliated with just based on the, you want to write off their own goodwill. So I would recommend you impute such things. Okay, great. Let me quickly see what some people said. Some people said they had their date of birth, state of origin, country. Please, let us try and remove all those personal information, because you don't want to put any information that might jeopardize your chances of getting the job. That's one thing you want to be very conscious of when you are applying for it. Okay, great. So I think we've pretty much had this covered. Let's now move on to the next one, which I said, this is what I have seen over the years that pretty much guarantees being called for an interview. Let me not say hired, being called for an interview. This is what I have seen a lot of time that guarantees being called for an interview. Sorry, I'm just letting people into the room. Senia, I'll think about that. Okay, so number one, quantitative results. Number two, a simple design. Number three, a quirky intersection. Remember, I said the essence of your resume is to get you an interview and not to get you a job. So don't get me wrong. It's not like we don't want you to get a job, but the truth is, until you secure an interview, we don't know if you will get the job or not. People make it to the final stage. I had a friend who was interviewing with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and they flew her from Nigeria to the US, to Seattle, in business class. Like, they flew her out, put her in a hotel, right? At the final stage of her interview, she didn't make it into the organization, but look at all the things she enjoyed. So I'm just saying that the fact that you secured an interview does not guarantee a job. So you need to make it through the next phase, which is securing an interview. Let me move on, because I don't want to waste time. Quantitative results. Most resumes lack them. Remember what I said. Don't focus on your roles and responsibilities. Focus on your quantitative results. And even the way you write your quantitative results is extremely important. And here is a classic example. So these are some popular quantitative results that people have there. I identified gaps in policies and processes, and I made recommendations. I streamlined processes to increase efficiency and enhance quality. I directly supervised 3 managers and directly managed up to 15 staff in multiple projects. If you look at this, it doesn't really sound like there's a problem with it. Are you guys seeing what I'm saying? This is the most updated. If you look at this, there is nothing wrong with what the person has written. Streamline processes to increase my efficiency and enhance my quality. But if you also reflect on what the person has written, you can see that it's still slightly vague. It still doesn't tell me anything about the role or the successes that you have closed or experienced as a result of you having sitting in that role. So this is what is being recommended. I managed a team of 20 that consistently outperformed other departments in lead generation, deal size, and overall satisfaction. Are you seeing that this has a bit more context? And that's why I said quantitative results. Quantitative results. It's just not enough for us to say, I identified the gaps in policies and processes. Now we are breaking it down. I managed a team of 20 that consistently outperformed other departments. I'm letting you know that there are other departments. And it led to what? It generated sales, increase in deal size, and of course, the overall satisfaction that you experience from the job. If you're just joining us, we are discussing about how to write a winning resume. How to write a winning resume. That's the topic that we're having a conversation on. Let me quickly see what's in the chat room. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you so much for your kind words. Someone said something else. Oh, I didn't miss it. Okay. Awesome. Something else again, you should take it off. Executed in-house marketing strategy that did what? That led or resulted to a 50% increase in our monthly leads, along with a 5% drop in the cost per lead. In other words, what I'm saying is that because of my intervention, we saved money and we increased results. Every organization are looking for people that can do three things for them. You can make money for them, you can save money for them, or you can save time for them, or you can simplify your process. If you can do any of these four things and you can articulate how you get it done, I'm telling you, it will be difficult for you not to get an interview. I tell people that the biggest mistake, and I say this with a deep sense of humility, but the biggest mistake you will make is to invite me for your interview. If you invite me for your interview, I will get that job. And I will decide if I want to take the job or not. So we should work towards securing our first interview. Just get me to the interview. That's the mistake. If not, I will leave you confused. You will take me. Have another example. Implemented targeted social media campaigns across Instagram and Pinterest, driving an additional 50,000 monthly website visits and generating 750 qualified leads in 3 months. So you see why I said you must be conscious of the impact that you are making. And then if you're not conscious, you must be able to articulate what you are doing within the organization. And I'm hoping that you guys can sit back today and over the weekend, go through your resume and make these changes in your document. Don't make the mistake of always sending out resume. You're looking for a job in British Council, you send one resume. You're looking for a job in Geneva, you send one resume. Every role you are looking for, you send the same type of. There's no way you'll be getting called for an interview. And that's why I said you cannot write your roles and responsibilities. If you think clearly about what did I achieve in this role, what is the one fantastic thing I achieved, you will have an opportunity to do this sort of things on your document because you are focused on what you achieved in that role as opposed to your roles and responsibilities. Other types of results that you should also consider as results, because I know some people say, I'm not in sales, but I'm not here, but I'm not there. The types of results you also want to take note of is time. How long did it take you to achieve something? Prior to your joining the organization, maybe there was a difficult process in securing partnerships or in closing deals. When you joined, how did you shorten that process? What system did you introduce? Maybe we were not able to secure grants. We've been trying, we don't used to secure grants. But when you came as a head of communications or a communications lead, what happened to our ability to secure grants? We were able to close our first grant in 1 month. What happened? What changed? Is it possible that the way you tell the story of the brand became different? So please don't think of, because I know some people would say, oh, I'm not in sales, I've not generated money, I don't have $50,000 somewhere. What else do I write as my impact, my, what's the word? Result that I have generated? I'm sharing it now. Time. Another area you want to consider is scope. What was the measurable scope of the project? So sometimes some people don't know that the scope of the project that they manage is as important as. So they will say, oh, I'm not the founder of the organization. I did not generate $1 million in grants. So what exactly do they expect me to come and write in my resume? I'll tell you what to write. So if you're working in a nonprofit or you're working in an organization and you are leading a team in that project, right? And the project costs, let's say, $100 million or $100,000, and you are the one responsible for preparing a budget, ensuring that the project is executed and still saves money. Do you know that people can deploy the same project on the same budget and you get different results? One person will deploy that same project for half of the price or half of the budget cost and save 20 million. Another person will deploy the project and use 40 million and and you can be looking for extra 10 million to make up the project. So don't think it's only when you are the one who is the founder that you can attribute your successes to you as well. No. If you played a key role in that project, you can actually cover and tell us the scope of the project. For example, I spearheaded a team of 10 on the recently launched Niger Delta Commission project for marginalized women on a $500 million budget or on a $70,000 budget. All those things are extremely valuable and extremely useful. Efficiency and productivity. Were you able to save budget costs? I just spoke about it now. Were you able to save people's time? Were you able to improve outcomes? That is also some of the contributions that you can assign or assign to your impact story or your results. Of course, comparison as well. How did your results compare to the past? Like I said before, prior to your joining, what were they doing before? When you came, what is the new thing that they began to do? Did you do things faster, better? Can you quantify and compare the value of your work? If you're a graphics designer, for example, because I'm trying to branch into all this process as much as I can, because sometimes people say, okay, I'm not leading a project, right? I'm in that team of 5. That woman, that person is boasting of. How do I now benefit from the success of the project, knowing that I contributed to that project? I will tell you what to do. So I put an example here. If you're a graphic designer or you are a proposal writer, you were the one that wrote the proposal. You were the one that wrote the proposal, or you were responsible for preparing the work plan. See, do you know that when you are preparing a work plan and your work plan is followed and your timelines are met, do you know it takes an extremely organized project manager for that to happen? Sometimes I take a risk on projects because I know that, let's close my eye, look at my eye. The only thing that can give me a headache is value. And it's because, value will give me problem because maybe I don't want to spend beyond a certain amount of money. But that aside, I can deploy any project in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So if you are part of a team, you are not the lead, or you are in that team, right? What was your role? Like I said, let's say you managed the project in such a way that you developed a work plan and everybody was able to execute their activities within that work plan within the stipulated period of time. That makes you a fantastic project manager. Tell us. You project managed a team of 15. I didn't say you led. Sure, you say I'm not lying. I did not say you led, but you project managed a team of 15 people, and XYZ results happened. So let me come back to my example of a graphics designer. If you work as a graphics designer or you prepared a document that was used in a project that generated success, what do you do? See, I usually go back to when I was still in my first job. I go back to our board members. I would just have reasons. Did they love the presentation? Oh, yes. We don't prepare the presentation. I'm going to ask all those questions. Do you know I'm asking all those questions? I'm asking all those questions so I can know that the pitch deck that I designed, which was presented at that event, right? It is the presentation that led to a meeting that led to the funding. I cannot take my efforts for granted. So please don't also forget the important role that you played within a project to make that project a success. Oh, great. So Nkiru said, let me give an example of a beginner. See, beginners, one of the biggest challenges you guys have is that you don't count the experiences that you had while in school, or while you were volunteering, or while you were in your first day of the new job. You need to count those experiences. You need to count those experiences. So for example, let's say this is your first job, right? And you're even applying to get the job. Let me not say you've gotten the job, you're just applying to get the job. They say they are looking for someone who, let's say, I don't know what other example to use, is very passionate, right? How do you now show your passion on a job? Sometimes it's the length of time we work. Sometimes it is the things we do during the weekend. I'm saying this, you need to think of your other activities. For example, other activities here could include things as simple as while you were in the drama department in your school or in your church or in your mosque, or while you were doing youth service, you were the head of something, or you worked within a team that did something. Talk about your competency while you were a student. What are the things you did as a student about it? Right? In your home, people laugh. I don't take these things as a joke. If you're a full-time wife, or if you're somebody who had worked, who has not been able to go back to work, maybe you spent 1 year, 2 years raising kids or giving birth to your kids, and you're now trying to pivot back to work, and you're trying to highlight, okay, how do I talk about my skill set when I did not work for 2 years? You were a mother, you were raising kids, you were settling fights. Put conflict resolution competence or expertise there. You know how to resolve issues amicably between between individuals and your children. Are you not resolving cases amicably? Somebody will say, Mommy, I want to watch kids say the damnedest thing. No, Mommy, I want to watch cartoon. How do you resolve that kind of quarrel and fight? You say, okay, you take my phone and watch cartoon. You go and watch kids say the damnedest thing. You have only 1 hour to watch it, 30 minutes to watch it. You need to expand your mind and look at the things that you do. You be able to say, okay, I worked at your skill, the transferable skills that you got, the position you are heading in your church or in your local volunteers group. What did you people achieve? What are you doing? Even if you're not being paid for it, put it there in your resume. Put it in your resume. And put it in the way we have talked about it. Okay, you made, document it in this format. I wish I had the resume in front of me, like easy for me to propose, but hey. Finally, simple aesthetic design that hooks the reader. I've seen all sorts of design, and I'm not here to tell you one is right or one is wrong, but I'll also tell you this. People like content that they are accustomed to. What that simply means is when you are used to seeing things done one specific way, you don't want to wake up one morning and not start seeing picture, design. Somebody will put kind of design. They'll put long, like I see all sorts of resumes, and I can't even see the information I'm looking for. So I usually recommend a clean, easy to understand black and white resume. Clean, keep it clean. Right? So I've talked about all this earlier on. Our brains prefer things that we can easily recognize. You want to make sure that a hiring manager can actually catch a glimpse of who you are during the quick scan of your resume. So I'm not in support. I don't know if I can pull up one quickly, but I'm trying to draw a diagram for you guys. I am not in support of resumes that have things like this. Sorry, I'm going to show you guys. Just give me a minute. I'm still drawing it, right? You see these resumes. I hope you guys can still see me. I can't see myself. Okay. You see this type of resumes, right? Where you will see information on this side. Then they will not put a division. Then they will not come and put things. Please, I take up in my begging. Try not to fall into that category. Because it's confusing. Okay, so I gave more examples here. Something else you want to think about is your interest section. I find it very funny because something I learned recently and I started using it, and I do like the results that I'm seeing. For example, there's a little hack I now use in my personal interests and hobbies. I just don't put them as interests, hobbies, and things like that. Like I actually I've come to realize that if you're able to connect on an emotional level with the person who is reviewing your resume, the chances of you being called into an interview is extremely high. As long as you're able to connect with the person reading your resume. And the best way to connect is under your interest section. And I put here, always think about things that you can comfortably talk about for long or extended periods of time. We've gone beyond time. Think about things, and I itemized 5 of them. People like talking about sports, food, schools they went to, hobbies that they are fond of, and things like that. But let me show you a different way to write it. Just don't write, my hobbies include reading extensively, driving, traveling. Don't just write that. Let me tell you what you do. If you wrote traveling, right, you can put in brackets, let me tell you about the time I got stuck in the middle of nowhere. Or let me tell you about the time all my luggages were lost on transit and how I improvised. Or I had to find a funny one. Or let me tell you about a time when an elephant chased me in India. You force them to laugh. And then the one in them will be like, interesting, he said, let me even come my edges. I'm just saying, try to connect with people on an emotional level, right? Sometimes people can, I just put some interesting ideas there. Ask me about what I learned from my first heartbreak, or what dancing taught me, or if you say I love reading, you can put the title of the book you're currently reading, or the author of the book, the author who wrote the book that you're currently reading. What I'm saying is, when it comes to your hobby, it's not just enough for you to just write, I love doing this, I love swimming, no, it's not enough to do that anymore. You can actually now include funny conversations on your resume. So what country did you travel to? What was one of the experiences you had in that particular country? You can talk about your favorite food. What's the favorite food you enjoy cooking? The book you're writing. What is the title of the book you're currently writing, currently reading? Those things make for interesting conversations. So that when you are having an in-person interview, they are forced to ask you questions that make you memorable, questions that make you laugh, questions that something that makes you feel comfortable. And you want to always ensure that you have such things at the back of your mind when you're engaging personal brand. So I've put up the format for my favorite resume. This is how this is a fake resume. I'm sure like I have to make everything fake so that I'm not, there's so many templates. Like even with this sort of templates, I have like still so many templates in my head. But this is what I mean by keeping it clean, black and white. Name, information, see what I said, brief, employment and work experience, brief. Some people may want to have all this itemized on that, good for you. Education and certification, brief, just keep it brief. You can take a screenshot if you would like to. I know I'm going to share a link that you can use to download, not this exact format, but at least you have something to use when you're working. So please feel free to take a screenshot if you're looking to take a screenshot. I'm going to leave this on for like 1 or 2 minutes. Oh, you can't see the screen. Shakira, I cannot help you. I don't know how. If you're using your phone, just search for the video part of your phone, right? I don't know. I can help you. Shakira, I don't know how to help you. But I will share the link, right? I think you can use the link to download a template, right? That you can just include specific information in. Yes, please, Monisola, it's permitted, but you know you can also change the color. You can also change the color from blue to black. All you need to do is to highlight it, and then you go to the color the regular font color you have on your Word document, and just click to change to the color of your preference. So yes, you can actually change your hyperlinks to black. Awesome. Okay. So this is the sample, guys. This is the sample. So in summary, we've gone like 30 minutes extra. Aside from education and tools which are pretty standard, the content of your resume will differ according to your number of years of experience, to differ according to your current level, to differ according to your current job requirements and industry. Some countries, for example, I saved a particular post sometime, and the guy was talking about how in some countries you must have your pictures on the resume. But please, standard acceptable resume. Those resumes are usually for specific things, maybe visa application, maybe country exchange or something. Those resumes are not your regular workforce application resumes. So please take note of your industry. Sometimes some industries may have a different type of resume format. For example, people in UI/UX design and all those tech, they usually have like profiles. Their profile is evidence of the track record that they have generated in the industry. So you want to be conscious of what is acceptable in your sector and what is acceptable in your industry, what is acceptable in your job requirements. Are you at the entry level, mid-level, or senior level? A lot of these things will affect the kind of resume you put forward. Don't forget that other sections are equally as important. If you're applying for a role where they say, oh, they're going to work in the north, or they're going to work in the north, and it requires somebody who is fluent in Hausa. If you understand Hausa, if you can speak two languages, note it there. Like, this is one of the things we may not talk about, but they're equally important. What are the awards you've received? Put them on your resume. What are you proud of? Put them on your resume. What's the skill you're pursuing? Some of us may say, I don't have any skill, don't have any course that I have taken on Google. No problem. Is it a course that you intend to take? At the time I was trying to finish a course, I never finished the course because life happened. But while I was in the process of attempting to finish the course, I put it there, something in public policy, bracket, in view, so that people know that I am actually, you don't need to have a resume that doesn't have anything that shows that you are improving yourself. The least growth information on your resume was when you left university or when you left your master's or your PhD. 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years ago. It doesn't make any sense. So that's why when I was trying to take the course, I had started the course, and in the course of doing the course, I couldn't complete it. But while I was doing that course, it's on my resume, something public policy in view. So you can actually have such information as well. What is in view? What are you building up for, building your capacity for as well? And then I don't care that the important thing is that it is chosen strategically in the context of the role you are applying for. If there's anything else you don't remember today, please remember this, that your resume must align with the role that you are applying for. It is not okay for you to have a generic resume. You must know what roles you are interested in. There's something called transferable skills. For example, a lot of us are interested in pivoting to tech. How do you prepare yourself to pivot to tech? Some of us may only require transferable skills. People who are coming on board as product managers and not really product designers or UI/UX designers, they are managing. Tell me how you have managed other projects that are not tech-driven projects. It is still the same skill or competency you would need in a tech project. Do you understand? So the important thing is that it is chosen strategically in the context of the role that you are applying for. Finally, this is our email address and contact details. If you have any additional questions you'd like to ask, at this point, I'd like to end the session and say thank you all so much for joining. I'm happy to take your questions if you have any, if there are any gray areas I'm happy to take it. Let me quickly stop this so I can share the link to the platform I talked about, where you can download the sample resume. Guys, where do you guys see it? Oh my goodness. Oh, my people, my people. Please, when downloading, just download directly to your system, and please don't delete it. I don't want to have to start granting people permission and all that. So please, let's be our brothers keepers. As soon as you receive it, just download it. Don't remove it, and then no other person again will have access to it. And I'm begging. I've tried to see if I could block some things, but I couldn't. So, guys, as soon as you receive it, okay, so maybe I should just change my settings to only download. So the only thing you all can do is to download it. Thank you all so much. While I'm trying to figure this out, if you have questions, please ask your questions. I keep to time, just as today's work, I had to exceed some things. Does anyone have a question they'd like to ask, please? So that you all can go and rest. Thank you all so much for joining today's session.
Yes, I
Please
have
go
a
ahead.
question.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Thank you so much for the section. It has really been helpful and I've learned a lot. Okay, so the question I have is, in my case, I've been able to play a lot of roles in one organization. And how do you go about putting the different roles you've actually played, in one organization in a resume or in your CV? Because, like, for example, I actually started where I work as the office assistant. Then from there, while doing the office assistant, I was also doing program assistant as well. I was also doing administrative assistant as well. And within, the same year and all that. So as time goes on, I was relieved from the office assistant's office and was fully, let me not say fully, but was also doing administrative and program assistant as well. And as time goes on again, still in the same organization, I was now doing more of administrative work, administrative assistant, and then procurement officer in the same organization. And all this started from 2015 till date. So I'm currently asking, how do I project these roles, like in my CV, saying that I do this, and they are from so time till present, So I'm a bit confused in that aspect. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so that's a very valid question. So, but this is how I'm going to respond to it. You always need to ask yourself, first question is, what role am I applying for? So let's do a simulation exercise, right? So tell me, what sort of roles are you interested in? In a typical day, if you have to apply for another job, what kind of roles would you want to apply for?
Program assistant. I've really wanted program work department.
Okay, program officer, right? So first of all, always go for the higher roles, right? Because if you can do the work of a program assistant, you can do the work of a program officer. So program officer. So what you do in such a case when you apply for the role of a program officer is that, remember we said you want to focus on the impact you have made in those roles as opposed to your day-to-day activities. So the first thing I would say is, one of your successes will be simply written as, I moved from the role of a office assistant, for example, to the role of a, let's say, I don't know what that role comes after that. So let's say something consultant, executing activities in maybe executing activities in strategy, this within 2 years. So if I'm looking at your resume, what it shows me is that this person has been upwardly mobile in her role. I'll give you a classic example. When I joined an organization in my very first job, right? I joined that organization as an intern. I joined the organization as an intern. When I moved from internship to probation, I became an office assistant and a programs assistant, excuse me. From being a programs assistant, I became a program manager, not even officer. From being a program assistant, I went up to the role of a program manager. From the role of a program manager, I went up to the role of a hub manager. So a hub manager is somebody who manages the entire hub. So in Nigeria, there might be 6 different hubs. I started managing those 6 different hubs under our big sister organization called Vital Voices. So I became a hub manager. So I was responsible for managing all the hubs in the Nigerian chapter in quote. When you look at my resume, you would see from 2019 to 2000, and let's say program officer, program manager role, you will see under my response, my impact. One says clearly, rose from the position, because what it shows you reading my resume is that I started here. Look at where I started from, and look at where I am now. That means this person is ambitious. This person is driven. This person is self-motivated. To tell you, I am a self-motivated, passionate young woman. The fact I have written on my resume that says, rose from the position of an office assistant to a program officer or a program manager in 3 years, deploying work or project in this, that has already told you every other story that I want to tell you. I'll put that as my first win under that particular position. And then the next win that will come under, it must be a win that is relevant to the job I'm applying for. So if I'm applying for a program manager job and I have done the work of maybe an office assistant, I've done program support or program associate or program intern, I've done all these things over the years, I can do the work of a program manager. What is required in the work of a program manager should be to manage teams. It's there that you have led and managed coordination and deployment of XYZ projects in XYZ number of months or years or whatever. If you have generated funds, you have supported the process of fundraising. Maybe you conducted research which led to the generation of grants to the tune of XYZ amount of money. You need to find a way to document how your successes has made a huge impact in the role or is going to be useful in the role that you are applying for. So it is actually a good thing that you have gone from one step to the other. If that is all that is on your resume, this is the only thing on my resume. Right? So you can put XYZ organization, and then you can have 5 major successes, impactful successes that are visible under those each section. So sorry, under those specific section, under that particular company, rather, you have the role of a this, but make sure you always let them know that you rose from the position of a this to a this within a this time. And then you now begin to itemize any other role that shows the successes you gained in line or that aligns with the company that you want to apply for. I hope I didn't just confuse you so much, but I hope it really helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, guys, do we have any more questions? If not, I'd like to let you guys go so that you can rest. Tomorrow is Friday. It's almost 8 o'clock. Okay, guys, thank you all so much. If anyone is interested in a cover letter, I know that my team had it's only God that will help me. Anybody that says you don't need people to survive, the person is lying. We need people to survive. Those guys, they are like my backbone, honestly speaking. I don't know what I would do without them. Okay, so let me quickly share this link in case you're all very welcome. You're welcome. In case anybody's interested in a cover letter, there's a link to it. I think it's about 1,500 or 1,000, I'm not sure. But there you go. So thank you guys so much for joining today's session. I wish you guys all the searches. Please be kind to leave us a kind word of your stories and tag us at DFA so that we can post and make this available to others. Okay, the link is there, everyone. We'll respond to this email, we'll send you a link and a link to download the document. I think we'll try and get only those. Sarah, sorry, I raised up your hand. Please go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I'm just saying that now. We'll send a link to only those who attended this session. Sorry, that's how we do our DFA. For gracing us with your presence, we'll also grace you with our response. Thank you, guys. Sarah, so please go ahead if you have something to add. I'd like to close the meeting.
Hello. Yes, sorry for
Yes,
the
hi.
delay. Hi, good evening,
problem.
everyone. Thank you for this session. It was really impactful, illuminating. You see, I go through the LinkedIn profile and I just go through recruiters, you know, what they say about writing the CV or resume, whatever. But nobody has really clearly stated it like this.
Oh.
So that you know the difference, you know what you're doing, what you need to do per time. You know, they just confuse you the more. Do this, say this, do that. You know, they don't really go into detail. So I really appreciate this session. Then secondly, I wanted to find out, okay, yes, you just mentioned it, that to review for cover letter review or whatever, you pay a certain token and you get it done, right? Yeah. I think I'll go for that. I'm interested. I hope you will laugh at my CV, Chidi, because I told you how I got connected to you.
No, DFA offers, we review resumes. You can send an email for us for that one, but this one is for cover letters. This is for cover letters.
I want to do, yes. I want to do the two at the same time.
Okay, so just send us an email. Someone from the office will respond to that.
Then another one again. You mentioned something. Okay, yes, I just wanted to use a scenario, just like the lady that just asked you a question. She exited from one role to the other, like that. You know, it happened to me as well. But that just didn't happen. I was serving like high-ranking officers, 5 of them at the same time in different units at the same time.
Oh.
So now, if I want to put that down on my resume, how do I go about it? And these are, you know, okay, you know, when you're working with Americans, you have the locals as your supervisors, then you have the Americans. I was now working directly with the Americans now. So I had like 5 people on my head, you know, and I was serving them at the same time, different departments, management departments, law enforcement departments. I had one in Lagos, one in Abuja, and I was doing the 2 at the same time. When I mean high ranking, for the management section, I was reporting to like 3 Americans, direct hires, the most senior management people there. So in such cases, how do you communicate that?
Okay, so sorry, let me quickly share my screen again. People are asking for a contact address. And yes, I had someone had said, yes, we had stopped taking work for a while because we were inundated, and we are still inundated because we have an event in 2 weeks and all hands need to be on deck. Sorry, Sarata, I'm coming to your question. I want to be able to meet the needs of some people while we are speaking. So they will come back. I'm sure they will revert, but please just send the email. If you send the email, it's easier for them to respond, and hopefully they can make out time, because anybody who takes up a project must see it through to the end. Okay, Saratu, I'm here to answer your question. Let me quickly share my screen for those of them who need contact information. Okay, that's the contact information on the screen. Okay, Saratu, my answer is, the first question I would like to ask is, what are you applying? What role are you applying for? That's the first question.
Okay, right? Okay. Now, as we're speaking, I'm applying for the role of a director of administration and operations.
Okay. Now, remember I said, interestingly, it's not about who we worked with, but get me, But if I want to align who we work with, right, to your position or your interest in the role of a director of operations, then it may be important for me to now talk about the individuals that I have served. But now, I'm speaking vaguely because a place I like to start from is to see the job that you are applying for, is to have a copy of your resume in front of me, then I can make the connection. But let me speak vaguely for now. If I'm going to apply for the role of a director of operations, and I have worked closely with a lot of these high-level directors, so that means I must have learned a lot of skills that can allow position me to serve as a director. In other words, I serve them, so I know I already understand how they work, and I know I have the competence, or I possess the competencies to basically do their work for them in quotes. So what I would need to do as a first is to say, what is the role I'm applying for? How do I now show that I can also work as a director? What are the successes that you achieve? Not just personal successes, right? But successes that are tied to the overall establishment, growth, impact, advancement, whatever it was. What high-level role did I play? When I say serve, it means maybe just preparing reports and things like that. That's why I said I can't see your resume. If I can see your resume, one of the things I'll be looking to identify is, what role did you serve? Like what was the tangible result of your service? Because you can easily state here that I worked, and you would just say you worked directly with 5 top leadership management. It's not enough to say you work directly with. It's not more like the successes that they generated because of the work support that you gave them. For example, there was a time our board was pushing for something at the National Assembly level. We were the ones that did the research. We were the ones that prepared the documentation. We were the ones that organized stakeholder forum meeting. When you impute such a way, by the time the bill got passed and all those things were being announced and celebrated, the way it appeared in my own resume was that I researched and developed policy materials that led to Congress announcing XYZ bill has been passed into law. I didn't just say I worked with these individuals. You can have it there, but let it be the results that you generated from working with them. Let that be what you're selling. I don't even know if this helps, but let that be what you're selling. And then, of course, you can always mention that you have worked with this, but it is not enough to have worked with them. It is to now say, how do I let them know that my skill sets, the experiences I've had working with them, puts me in a position to occupy their position. In other words, I know what to expect from directors. I know how to play this role. This is how I was able to step in when this director was not available. These are the kind of confidential documentations I presented. These are the kind of meetings I sat in. And I didn't just sit in the meeting. This is what I brought to the table while I was at that meeting. The content of my post, of my role, has to be high-level, director level role, and not necessarily the fact that I worked with XYZ, but through serving these people, these are the things I was able to achieve under that office. And that's why I think I should be applying for this particular role. I don't know if it's, again, like I said, because I'm not seeing your resume and I'm not seeing the job you're applying for, it will be difficult to make the connection, but that's what I would recommend, but that's what I would suggest. Focusing on the role that you achieved, that was on the success that was achieved as a result of your contribution at that level, at that senior level, as opposed to let that come first before the fact that you worked with them come next. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I understand where you're
Thank
heading to. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay,
'Cause I
guys,
had to
thank you
like,
all so much
okay.
once more. Thank you. Sadly, DFA, we don't release our resources or our materials. We stopped doing that a while back. But I will make the recording available to everyone who showed up in class today. You will get a copy of the recording. You will get, I've already sent the link to download the free template. Please feel free to download the free template. Chinwe, like you said, honestly speaking, the team is inundated. We will try, but I don't want to make any promises because we are currently reviewing applications for the GEDA Fellowship. We are currently preparing for our graduation ceremony in less than 2 weeks. So the team is honestly occupied. So except you're willing to wait, fine, but just send us an email so that we can treat every issue as a separate issue. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Have yourself a lovely evening. Thank you all so much for coming. Good night and bye. God bless. Like, please leave us a kind word, oh. Please leave us a kind word, oh. The thank you will give DFAs to post it on your stories, oh, and let us repost. That is the only thing we are asking for. Say your feedback on your stories and we'll just repost. Thank you so much again. Have yourself a lovely night rest. All right, guys. Bye. Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. You're welcome, Godwin. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Favor.